Hey, welcome to another episode of Hey Pumpkin. What's going on, B? How are you?
Hey, I know. I'm doing well. How about you?
Not too bad, not too bad at all. It is holiday season in full swing here.
Absolutely is.
Not in the home, but at work. It's full holiday, which I don't know. When I worked in grocery, and I enjoyed the holidays a lot more. And maybe because it was kind of like pocketed, you had a little Thanksgiving pocket, Christmas pocket. Um, this is a little different, and it could be our clientele that makes it a little more challenging too. But it's a little different because it's like and I've never I've never
Yeah.
seen people like okay, I need to. It's a sweater here, and it's 5 different colors. So I need to try one on for my size. But instead, I'm going to try every color on in my size as well to see. And my thing is, if it fits in black, it's going to fit in red, yellow. You know what I'm saying? So all you need to check is one for the fit, and then decide on the color that you like.
I suppose from a perspective of like seeing it on yourself, like there's some people that are visual learners like that, but I completely agree with you. Like you only need to try one of these on and then figure out the rest from there.
Exactly. And then, or try to coat on, and instead of putting it back on the hanger that you got it off of, you just either throw it on the rack, or in some cases, throw it on the floor. Um, it's craziness, and I'm like, what do your house look
Absolutely.
like? Yeah, so so now from that standpoint, I'm ready for the holidays to be over because this cannot be. But then again, I'm saying that, but it's been a little worse with the holiday. But prior to the holidays, like Saturday and Sunday business, come Monday, it's like a tornado has hit that store. Seriously, in certain
Yeah.
areas, and but it's been um, through it all, it's still been good. So I'll say that. I'll say that. So.
Are, are you guys doing anything big? Are you having people over? Anything like that?
Nothing big. I think Mama Kim's gonna come over. Monet and the kids. Bigger than I guess we originally had planned because originally it was just being Mama Kim, Monet and the kids. But I think now Mama Kim's mom's coming, and then her sister and her husband are coming as well. So it'll be a little bigger, and then Dutch is gonna come over because he's not going home for Christmas since he has to work on Christmas Eve, so he's gonna come over on Christmas Day. So that'll be good. So I think we're gonna do since we did Friendsgiving, had kind of Thanksgiving-ish food, and then we did Thanksgiving, had Thanksgiving-ish food. So I think we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do like a crab boil or something like that, and have some seafood
Hmm.
options or something like that for Christmas versus having another Thanksgiving dressing.
Right. Just repeat the same shit. Yeah.
Yeah, because we know how that dressing went over so well. So, and actually, we had two fail attempts because we had a fail attempt. I wouldn't say a failed attempt. It just wasn't. Um, it didn't meet people's expectations. And then somebody's, she's not here with us tonight, but she thought she was going to be really fuck them up with hers. So she thought, I did two. I did a pork one and I did a chicken one. Needless to say, neither one of them landed. And so here we are. I mean, they weren't bad. They just weren't. This wasn't
Weren't
the year.
crowd favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't the year of dressing. So we'll move on past that and keep it moving and hope and pray the next year it'll be whoever does it will definitely get tens across the board as it relates to the dressing that they provide.
Roger
So,
that.
yeah, yeah. Because I think even for next year, I think Friendsgiving is going to be there, um,
That
and the
has been
Laniers
a
are hosting.
discussion.
Yeah, next year. So that should be fun.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, so we shall see. We'll see. So one other thing that I have learned or have recently learned is I guess each year has a time period or something like that. And so certain years are like, so this year is the year 2025 is considered to be year of the snake. First time I ever heard anything like that because 2026 is the year of the horse. And so when I heard it and then heard why it's called the year of the snake, it it really kind of resonated with me and everything like that. So before we get started and get too deep, I want to play this clip and so it kind of gave a little more context of it.
Okay.
And the big just they got the big on
All right. I do want to tell one more thing though. Yes, sir. And I've been saying this a lot to a lot of people, and I want y'all to remember this, man. 2025 is a 9-year. 9 means completion. So if you feel like some things are coming to an end, it's because they are. Okay, and it's the year of the snake. So you're supposed to shed everything that no longer serves you and make way for new beginnings. So any shifts you are feeling in your mental and your emotional, you're supposed to be feeling. Okay, it's supposed to be happening. Embrace it. Okay, you got what, 14 days? That's right. Yeah, 14 days until the year of the horse. So embrace it. Shed everything that no longer serves you. Leave in 2025. It's about endings because it's a 9-year, and it's about new beginnings. So please, right. So it's okay to feel like that right now. All right. Well, that is the latest with Lauren.
So, of course, that was a Breakfast Club. Charlamagne the Guy was talking about that. One thing I think he didn't get quite right is the timeline as it relates to the year of the snakes. Because 2025 is the year of the wood snake, beginning on January 29, 2025, and ending on February 16th, 2026. And it represents wisdom, transformation, renewal, and the wood element adding creativity and growth. It's a time for intuition, self improvement, and embracing change, encouraging deep reflection and new beginnings after shedding old patterns. So I found that to be very interesting. The 9 year resonates with me, and then the year of the snake resonates as well. So I don't know. What do you think about this?
Was he saying 9-year, as in like the number 9?
I think so.
Okay.
I didn't.
Because I was just looking it up. It was saying that the Chinese zodiac is 12-year cycles, but then he also said it was the end, so 9 would not be the end of 12, so I wasn't really sure. Obviously, you know me, I'm not really into the metaphysical as far as like horoscopes and things of that nature go. However, what I've always said about people that really get into astrology, and that is, if it's relatively harmless and it brings you comfort or it helps you through a situation, I'm all for it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but and not necessarily in a bad way. Like I'm not gonna chastise somebody for believing or anything of that nature, but more just it's not for me. But if like the whole concept of shedding negative energy or bad weight or things that you no longer need to hold on to, that's a great goal for anybody, regardless of whether the metaphysical aspect of it is true or not. So yeah, I think that's a great, especially ending up a year. We talk about things like New Year's resolutions and things of that nature. Like this is a great time to be thinking about things that we may not need to hold on to anymore.
Exactly, exactly. So while you were talking, I was looking it up. It's the 25 being a 9 year. It's and I don't know if this is the same thing you found as it relates to being a universal year 9 in numerology, a significant period of completion, transformation, humanitarianism, and spiritual endings before a new cycle begins in 2026. And the reason why it became a 9 years because 2025, so 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9.
Oh, okay.
So I think
Gotcha.
that's what makes it a 9 year, marking the end of a 9 year cycle that started in 2016, encouraging release and new perspectives. So,
Hmm.
um, so it's because I guess adding the years, the numbers in the year together, is what makes it a 9 year.
Okay.
Makes sense. So the 9 year coming to an end, resonates for me only because this is it, I don't want to say it's been a tough year because it's not been a tough year. It's been a different year for me. And in that case of things coming to an end, I chose for the first time. I chose mental health over career. So that was a change for me, leaving my previous company, which was Amazon, to do something different. Was a big deal because I'm loyal. Now, you listen, hey, this is my job. My job is my identity. Yada yada yada. All those type of things. And so I'm making that choice to do that. But then also, I tell my therapist all the time, and he doesn't like me using that term. But I was saying this is kind of a year of loss for me. I've lost, as it relates to people, I've lost. My list of losses is greater than my list of gains at this point. Um,
Sure.
but the thing about it, Brian, is that I thought that if you had said this, if you would have said some of these situations would have taken place a year ago, I probably would have fought tooth and nail against it. But in these cases, I've just kind of been going with it. And this is not to sound mean or anything like that, but I'm really at peace with some of the friendships or relationships that have just
Going away.
gone away. Which me being a somebody that I felt self-proclaimed where I needed people or people pleasing type, I would normally cling on to things just to have that security, so to speak, or that or false sense of security in some cases. But yeah, it's happened a little better, or I'm taking it a little better than I thought I would. Like I said, if you told me this a year ago, matter of fact, my therapist had said a year ago that things would, you'd have to shed some things in order to make room for new energy and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I don't know about all that, but I've been good with it. I've
Hmm.
been good with it, and I say that because that's I guess it can sound like an asshole. Oh, I didn't need you anyway. It's not. I'm not saying that. I'm
Right.
saying I'm able to move on and not be codependent on those situations and those relationships, and realize that listen, it wasn't me. They may not have been serving me in the way that I needed to be served. Not to say people were bad, not to say put salt on anybody's name. It's just saying those situations were not serving me in the way that I need. And I'm now prioritizing myself in a way that I say,
Yeah.
listen, I deserve something different. So,
Do you think proximity has had a role in, or a lack of proximity, I should say, has played a role in some of those relationships fading?
um, not really.
Okay.
Not really. Because considering, like, being in Dallas almost 6 years, it'll be 6 years in
Yeah.
um, March. So, with that being said, for a good strong 5 years, it's been consistent, and so I don't necessarily
Okay.
think the distance has caused that. I think just a matter. It was just it was just timing. I always was one that felt like I don't shy away from this. Say I live my life on a timeline, or feel like things should happen at this age, that this time, this and the third. And so I also would cherish or value time, length of time in certain things, and realizing and thinking that would made it better. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. So with that being said, I think it was just time to. So when you say the year of the snake and you're shedding things, for me, it's shedding my codependency on people, codependency on feeling like I I don't know how to say it. Nothing. I can't say it any more than just code of shedding that the fact of putting me second, third, or fourth, fifth, maybe sometimes seventh, eighth, and selfishly putting myself thinking more of myself than I ever did before.
Yeah.
So um, that's a big deal for me, because that's 48, well, soon to be 48 years of that pattern. It was hard to shake it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So.
I can definitely understand that. And I think, I know a topic that you want to talk about a little bit later is kind of things about changing in the New Year's, and one of the things that I'm going to talk about is it's not it's more it's focused and not this broad, but the more broad stroke that kind of covers it is letting go of how do I put this? The desire for comfort. And I don't necessarily mean comfort in a, this chair is comfortable, but like avoiding things that make me uncomfortable or that, take me out of my element and things of that nature. And so like that, and that's a big part of my kind of life strategy is to be comfortable as much as possible and like in terms of situations and relationships and things of that nature. And so it definitely so yeah, I get the idea of kind of letting go of some things that may be uncomfortable at first thought.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not easy, and I see how like one of the things I value about the newer generation is the ability to move. Like we have a mutual friend, Adam, and he's of a different generation, and I really, dare I say, envy, but I appreciate the fact of um, if it doesn't serve you, you are able to maneuver quickly, make a decision, listen, and you're kind of going to, one might call it, I don't want to be like selfish, but to really understand, listen, hey, this ain't for me. I'm gonna move on a different way, that type of thing. And I
Yeah.
really value that because in a lot of ways, I wish that I would have had that type of thinking or that mindset years ago. And so that,
Yeah. And I was just going to say, and I think this is probably, and I don't know exactly what, and tell me if I'm wrong when I say this, but like I think a big part that comes into play when you and I think about that type of a situation is what can go wrong. What is going to go wrong if I, leave my job or whatever the case may be. Whereas when he makes that kind of a decision, I don't see him making that same calculation, and I am envious of that, like because it is something that I would overthink dramatically, whereas don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying he's an irresponsible person by any
yeah, yeah,
means, but like it is less of a burden on him than it is on our generation.
yeah, because at the end of the day, he's gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's so it's not for like where we might stress and worry about like how's this gonna happen, what's gonna happen at this. It's like, hey, I'm gonna choose myself, and all the chips, all the cards are gonna fall the way they should, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
still survive. And so to your point, I envy that because I just, and I look at, um, definitely in the workforce, the younger generation, they'll see things and listen, this ain't for me. I need my work life balance. Y'all trying to get me to work 80 hours. I only want to work 27. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? And they figure it out. And so um, that is one thing that I wish I probably would have done differently. But then things happen the way they should. So, I
Yeah.
also have to agree or have to not agree, but I have to keep that in mind that things happen the way they should. And so letting that be what guides me going forward. But yeah, this being the year of the snake, it's and it's just and so not only just the people aspect, but just the mindset. Honestly, in certain cases, has really impacted me. Just the mindset of change and moving forward and
Yeah.
growth and all this kind of stuff at this and the third, and just um, not being mentally imprisoned. And so, like we talked about Adam. I also say something that Neek Neek, how she maneuvers, and it's like free. It's like if this is something I want to do, I'm gonna do it. And
Yeah.
whereas I a lot of times will say, this is something I want to do, and this is something I want to do, and this is something I want to do,
Right.
and this is something I want to do, but the execution. lax because I tend to talk myself out of it to say,
Yep.
oh, well, what are people going to say about this? Or what are they going to think? Or how's this going to happen? Or this, that, and the third, versus just saying, listen, I'm going balls to the wall. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least I tried. And
Yep.
getting over that hurdle of the at least I tried part. And if it doesn't work, at least I tried. That is a big hurdle for me in certain ways because I'm like, to not equate that as being a failure, so to speak.
Right. Well, you know what? Like, and I still think that there's aspects of that that how much is it going to cost me is one of those things that like uh, and not and I mean in actual money terms, like if
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
decide to if I up in my job and then get and it doesn't work out, how am I going to handle not having a job for X amount of time or whatever the case may be? Like those are serious questions that we have to ask, and they're actually serious considerations that we're kind of similar situations. We own houses and cars and things of that nature, so we actually have to factor in and don't get me wrong, both of those people, Adam and Neek, both have similar responsibilities as we do,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I guess it's one of those. I kind of feel like, yeah, I I'm almost trying to talk you out of the things that you're thinking of, and even you're trying to get out from underneath that burden of thought. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's tricky.
yeah, yeah. It's a like a no fear type of lifestyle. Listen. I'm going in it with essentially putting me first in their eyes, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think back to being loyal to like companies. That I remember my boss when I was at Kroger. My boss, he was a big family man, single parent of 5 kids, and they would have dinner together every night. But then he would still miss out on like soccer and because kids active in sports stuff like that. And he was and asking him like, what is one thing you would do differently? He said, I would not have committed so much to the company and more to my family. Because at the end of the day, it's a lot of these companies that have you feeling like, listen, you owe it all to me. But if something should happen to you, they'll replace you. They'll move on. They got to still keep it moving. But they'll make you feel like, listen, you need to give 127% to us uh, in the meantime. So I don't know.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So going into the new year, what are some things that you would like to see happen?
Um, I have never been, and I don't know if we've ever even talked about this, but I've never really been a person to do New Year's resolutions, and this year is a little bit different.
Oh,
I have been looking at, I don't a year and a half ago, a year and 3 months ago, something like that. Is when I quit vaping, and that has gone very well. And I'm it's a situation. I'm glad that I am at that point where um, it's not something that I'll ever go back to. It's saving me a ton of money.
mhm.
Um, so I kind of thought along that lines, like, what's the next thing that I need to do? And I think my next, or actually kind of my only addiction at this point is Diet Coke. And I think that's going to be one thing that I am going to. I don't necessarily know that I need to give it up completely, but it needs to be a healthier balance than it is right now because it is not a healthy balance in terms of where it is in my life and the amount of money that I spend on it, especially now that it's gotten as expensive as it has. Um, I am going to focus on money.
Let me pause you real
Not
quick
nec-
about the Diet Coke
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
So you came here for Friendsgiving. I made sure I had that Diet Coke here for you, and you were gone, long gone, and that Diet Coke 12 pack is still sitting in there. I said, Brian didn't drink none of that, and I looked a couple times. I looked over, you were drinking water. I said, who is this guy? He drinking water versus drinking this Diet Coke in here, and but I think you guys had
I
already
mean,
also went to the store and bought some Diet Coke as well. But I was like, why did
yeah,
you throw some in there? But yeah,
it's
it's still sitting down in there.
gotcha. Well, hopefully I can get down there and drink it before before it goes bad. Um, but no, the other thing is kind of focusing on money. I've been like I'm not in a bad position by any means, and that's the kind of the goal is to make sure that I don't get in a bad position. After we finish the house, I had a decent amount of money and savings that came from kind of how that whole process worked out. Um, and I've seen that amount decrease rather than increase over time. So need to start building that back up as as far as savings goes, money in the bank. And finally, I don't know exactly what this one looks like, but I look at our friends that work at the same place that I do. Like they are constantly applying for jobs. They are constantly looking for what's next. And I'm just my brain doesn't work that way. Like there's an aspect of if it's not broke, you know, what is there to fix? Um, but also just the security of having something that is stable and steady and that I know that I enjoy, and I might work on kind of changing that. Not necessarily because I am striving to see what's next, but that I could be passing up opportunities and advancement opportunities that otherwise my comfort would suggest that I avoid. So those are my three.
I got you, and then, and I honestly understand that perspective is because sometimes you do get comfortable, and have the attitude of it's not broke, don't fix it. And it's not a lack of motivation; it's a lack of, I would say it's just that a lack of comfort. I mean, not lack of comfort; it's the fact of comfort. You know, and so hey, I'm cool here, this and the third, but we end up stifling ourselves in certain areas because there's a whole world out there that we are cutting ourselves out from by just, in a sense, staying stagnant. But it's stagnant sounds so negative because when I think of it, it's not a negative way of feeling because I empathize, or not empathize, I identify with what you're saying, is because that's why I spent 19 years with Kroger, thinking that I was comfortable. Yeah, moving around and did some different things with it, but I wasn't achieving the level of success that I wanted or the things I wanted. But yet I stuck around and stuck in there because, this is comfortable. I know the business. I know the players. I know what to expect. I know the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that's a good one though. It's more of like, it'll be more of a challenge for yourself to say, listen, I'm going to try something different,
Yeah.
outside of what I would normally would do. So
And I will say that it's not something that I am compelled to do. Like it's not something that I have to do. It is more something that I want to do. And
yeah,
so if I don't find the opportunities, if I don't see the openings that make sense for me, I'm not just going to try to do things just for the sake of trying it.
right.
It has to make sense, and I'm comfortable setting that boundary. That Marcus sends me jobs all the time that he's like, apply to this, and I usually do. There's been a few that I just skip over because I will read the job description and I'm like, that is not me. Um, but like that's the whole thing. Like I do have the luxury of being choosy and doing something that sounds like it's a good fit for me, not just an opportunity to get a leg up and be miserable.
That's true. That's true, and that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because in many cases, some people, and I'm not, just people I've known, experienced in the past, that they'll do things to get a leg up, and definitely be miserable in the new roles and stuff like that. But because it brought either more of a title or more money or something like that, then we kind of make it seem like it's better than what it is. But it is what it is.
Absolutely.
So for me, a couple of things that I would like to see happen next in 2026, and I am trying to be more intentional on working towards it, working towards these things. And I know you guys did. I don't. Did you went as well to Neek's brunch and boards
Yeah.
event yet. And so her and I did probably about a month prior to that. Her and I did like a FaceTime situation where we did our vision boards and stuff like that. And I normally shy away from doing those type of things because I'm not big on manifestation.
Right.
Well, I'm big on manifestation if it related, like if you told me everything you wanted to do, Brian, I'm gonna be your biggest cheerleader. Yeah, make it happen, make it happen, make it happen.
Right.
As it relates to me manifesting stuff for myself, I oftentimes shy away from that because just patterns and things of that nature kind of make me feel like it may or may not happen, and I don't want to be disappointed if it doesn't. So, but anyway, I want to be a little more intentional on working towards some of these things in the next year. So, I know one of the things I want is that for this Hey Pumpkin to be more successful. What does success look like that? And I'm only just breaking it down because when I say things generally with my therapist, he always makes me break it down to say what am I thinking.
Expand
So
on that. Yeah.
to have more subscribers, and so put it, maybe 200, 250 plus subscribers, which will take some work, and I have to understand that that's not going to happen just sitting there. I'm going to have to put some work in to make it happen. So
Yeah.
understand that that's going to happen, that's going to take place, and then just having you know, uh, more traction on the IG. So of course that takes work. That's one of the things I see Neek does. Listen, she's gonna post each and every day, and she's kind of teaching me some things in the background about um, your algorithms and stuff like that. But just having good or continue to have good discussion, good learnings, good just that type of things. I really have valued the discussions that you and Mama Kim and myself have because I think we all have different, like even though we have similarities in certain areas, we all have different differences that make for good discussion. So I
Absolutely.
think this could be there. I just want to see this be successful, and not to say that it's not, but just those are the things that I think would help to catapult it to a um, different level. Um, and I want to continue to work on myself and continue to prioritize myself and continue to be comfortable with myself. The lack of certain friends and things that has allowed me to really just focus on me and to be one with me, like not so much codependent, but just be kind of get to know me all over again um, and realizing that I'm not a bad person. I think certain situations that led me to believe that listen, something's wrong with me, but in reality, no, there's not. I am who I am, and this is what it is. And so just those type of things I would like to move with, and then um, some of the smaller. It's just like I buy books, but I don't read them. So just something as simple as every month making sure I read in its entirety, some of these books, and just because I find books and I find them to be interesting and things of that nature. And at the time, like I really read more when I was in school because I was always taught that if you read, your reading helps your writing. So I would read more because I wanted to, want my writing to be
Yeah.
better. But now I even though I'm not doing a lot of writing, but I definitely want to um, finish some of these books that I've started, but then also read some of the new ones and just gain that knowledge and implement some of those things into my life just to make life better. So those are just a couple of things.
Can I ask you a question about number two?
Hmm.
So, talk about continuing to make progress and on the things that you want to work on. The question that I came up with, I typed it out while you were talking, and that is: does the progress you've made so far make you feel like you are closer to your end goal, or do you think it makes you feel like the goalpost is even further away?
Wow.
if you don't have an answer, that's okay.
I do have an answer, honestly, because this is it's one of those things that I don't take notice of, that maybe other people may take notice of, like progress that's been made and things of that nature. Like, I don't want to keep throwing my therapist out there, but yet again, because he and I got into a discussion because I was like, listen, yeah, the things I've done and this progress I've made, it doesn't feel tangible because like I mentioned, like this is, I feel like I'm losing more than I'm gaining, so this doesn't feel tangible. What am I gaining from what I don't have anything to hold from it, so to speak. And so, where he looked at it completely different. No, this is what needed to happen. This is, those type of things. And so, to answer your question, I feel like I am trying to change my perspective to feel like that the progress is being made, and the goalpost is not moving further and further away. Um, because um,
Is that to say that right now it kind of feels like the goalpost is moving further away, and you're trying to bring your head around to the reality that that's not the case?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. I would say that because it has to be a mind shift for me that I fight tooth and nail. Where it's like one of the things, like I know it, I can see it, I know I should think differently, but patterns and just be comfortable behaviors have become so common for me. So it's kind of like hard for me to shake it. So like I see it, but I don't see it, so to speak. Um, if I was to be able to fully change my mindset, I would. Then the goalpost wouldn't be further away; it would be closer.
I got you.
Because I can. It's like I can admit that progress is being made, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not what I envisioned. It doesn't look like what I. There it is. There it is. It doesn't look like what I want it to look like. So then I'm not accepting of it as being progress.
I got you. No, and I wondered that, we kind of touched on this. I want to say 2 episodes ago when we were talking about therapy, and it was the one thing that I disagreed on was the concept of like this perpetual therapy mindset.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't necessarily think that that's a thing that you should feel compelled to do. And
Mhm.
I know that that was something that you did, and that's part of what I like. I'm not trying to dog on therapy by any means because I know that it is a beautiful tool for people to accomplish things that they desperately need to. But I do think that there's a sometimes a human nature aspect of feeling broken, and it and therapy is a way of kind of dredging up those feelings. And so, like, I'm not trying to, like I said, not discouraging people from doing therapy by any means, but it's like being able to relish, like, and take joy in the accomplishments that you have already made is definitely an important aspect of that. And I want you to, like, I've seen the amazing progress that you've made, and I want you to feel the same way about it, not that you just need to continue to strive for more. But also the other aspect I wonder is possibly, does accomplishing those goals feel good, and therefore that by default makes you want more of it?
Mm, interesting. Well, first I say I appreciate your you noticing um, the progress is being made, and that's a great question. Because it does, to your point, does it become addictive? Like, oh, I need more and more of it. I don't know. Check back with me on that because I got to be able to see
Yeah,
when I hit
no,
the
for sure.
goalpost first and see. But yeah, but that's a great question because it, that would to me would be make it addictive. Like, oh, okay, now I've reached this, or now I want more and more of it. Um, and I understand your perspective on therapy. I just for me, and it just worked better to when I stopped fighting it. Let me say that because when I realized I needed to use it for what it was and not as a dumping ground because in realizing that listen, me talking to my therapist is not he's not no magician, he's not have no magic wand, he's not gonna make everything better. You realize that I have to do some work to make things better as well. And I think that was part for me, that was part of the journey. Is that uh, I have to do some work. Because initially I didn't feel like I was like, oh, okay, you go to therapy, everything is magically fixed, and
Right.
and move on down the road. But that's not the case. Um, so I guess that's why I'm an advocate for it. But I think I said that in the episode is that you have to do the work as well to be able to make these changes. Um, and then
I
I
think
guess
maybe I was gonna say maybe a way to look at it is that therapy can be like I in my opinion, therapy should be the goal should be reaching the goal. After that, there should be you can do maintenance on that goal. But I think like there is an endpoint, and that's the whole point of therapy is to reach an endpoint. Not that you can't start a new endpoint after that. Not that you, like I said, can't do maintenance or things like that. But like, it does not have to be an endless journey. It can be, it has a goal, and maybe understanding that goal is something that we all need to work on as far as what that looks like.
yeah, yeah, you're right.
And you haven't met all of your goals yet, so that's why you
I have not.
are still
I
on your
haven't really
journey.
begun to uncover the Brian. My life would be so much better if I would just surrender to negative thinking. Not surrender to negative thinking. Surrender to positive thinking and
Yeah,
eliminate negative thinking. Let's say that. Um, but I don't. I don't know.
it is what it is.
So that I hope 2026 brings something different. They say it's the what does it say? 2026 is the year of the and man, I need my glasses more and more now. But year of the fire horse. So that starts on the 17th of February and lasts until the 5th of February 2027, bringing themes of passion, freedom, and bold action influenced by the powerful fire element. People born in this year embody the horse's energetic and ooh, I sound illiterate. An adventurous spirit enhanced by the fire element's drive for change, enthusiasm, making a time for progress and new beginnings following the introspective wood snake year of 2025. So basically, I guess you shed things and end things in 2025, and then it's a year of new beginnings for 2026. And so I hope let me I need to start, I guess, changing my vocabulary. It's not that I hope. Um, I want 2026 to be a year of new beginnings, so that I can accomplish some of the things that I really want to accomplish, and have a better quality of life in that regard. So that's my that's my goal for
I look
2026.
forward to seeing that happen.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, I think that was a great discussion. Great questions, Brian. Very thought provoking. So definitely appreciate that.
We have
Um,
moments.
I I appreciate the challenge um, for my thought processes and such. So, all right, guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we will. We didn't have Mama Kim tonight, but we held it down and did a great job, and I thought it was good.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, again, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you all very soon. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.